Howdy y'all, Kelly from Broken Carnivore. Welcome to the channel. It was a huge blessing to be part of a team of 30 to build a home for a family in Cunha, Mexico last week. We got this home done in 2 days. I got to meet new people. Even though I had a damaged hip, I had so much fun helping and getting to know people and helping others out. While I was there. Normally, I'm one of those go, 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 but this time I had to sit quite a bit because my hip was flared, especially from the ride. These 15 passenger vans that we drive in, I was a part of a driver, it did not have room. In my truck, I can normally run and drive, no problem, no pain, but it was so cramped that my hip was flared being in one position, and it flared up and it was a little bit painful and it was stiff most of the time on this trip. But I wasn't going to let that stop me from being grateful for this, being part of this. And I know I couldn't do as much, but there was parts that I can do, and I was part of that, and I'm beyond grateful. I did a video last week about, can you be on Carnivore while you're on a mission trip? Here's my plan. Here's the video. If you want to watch it, go through and watch it of my plan, why I'm preparing food for being on this trip. And so what I did was I prepared some beef jerky. I made some bacon. I took some tuna. I took pickles, fermented fruit. I do fermented fruit like pickles and stuff time to time. I took beef sticks, to prepare myself because there was going to be high carbs down there. But in this video that I'm going to be talking about what happened, what worked for me, what was my struggle this week being on this trip, as a carnivore. And, I'm going to tell you the truth, staying carnivore, I stayed carnivore true. That was the easy part. I prepared my meals because to go out there on the field, I prepared some bacon, beef jerky, I had beef sticks. I had those pickles. I was ready. I also I took an air fryer and I took some Spam with me because it was canned meat. And no matter what, if some people may frown on canned meat like Spam and stuff, they may frown, they're saying that's not carnivore, but no matter what, if hot dogs and bologna is what you can afford, that's what Dr. Berry says, that's better than having breads and pastas and cakes and cookies and candy bars and sweets and sugar, stuff like that. I feel that was better for me than eating a meal that is going to hinder me and relapse. Because I am a carb addict. I am a sugar addict. Sugar is one of those biggest things. Sugar is the hardest thing to kick no matter what. That is for me. I don't know about anybody else. Now, it's a lot easier today to not be around that because I haven't been around it. And I know if I get an unsweet tea from McDonald's and they accidentally put something, a sweet tea, I'll know the difference. But that's the one thing I wanted to make sure of. And I stayed true to the diet. They actually, even though the breakfast and dinners was planned and they had carbs there, but they also had carnivore options like breakfast first day on Monday, the first day, they had pancakes, but they had sausage and they had hard-boiled eggs. I grabbed some hard-boiled eggs. I grabbed the sausage. I didn't take the pancakes. I went back. I had some of my bacon that I prepared, and that's what I had. I packed my lunch for out there in the field. The family served, they serve pastries and stuff because they see that we're here building from it. They want to participate. They want to, partake and say offer. But, I didn't eat none of that stuff because I knew that it was high in carbs. And yeah, do I miss having a donut and stuff? Absolutely. But I don't miss it as much as I used to because I've been so away from it. I don't really care. Dinner Monday night, I end up having having theirs because they had this meat option. I didn't take the carbs. Now, Tuesday, I ate breakfast, But I did not eat because they had what they call falantas, which is a fried rolled tortilla that we call taquitos here in this country. And I fixed my own. I took the air fryer out and I fixed that. The Wednesday, the family fixed, I ate breakfast because they had boiled eggs and sausage. I didn't eat the French toast. I ate some of my stuff, took some of my stuff, but the family made a meal and they kind of understood that I didn't want, even though we had a language barrier, they knew, hey, I didn't want that. No beans, no rice. They were respectful. They gave me the chicken. I had a little bit of guacamole, and I was totally great on that. The last night, they had tamales. I just picked through much as I can away from the masa, and I ate the meat, and I finished up some of my bacon, and I had my rest of my beef jerky. Now, I'm sure I had a little bit of that corn masa, but I try to pick through much as I can just to get the meat part. But what was the hardest for me was I have a routine. My routine was intermittent fast. I don't eat till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll have mostly 2 meals a day, but I sometimes only eat once a day. And when you are in the van riding 2 days with other people that aren't on carnivore, they have snacks, they have routine stops and stuff like that. They have a different schedule than you. It tends to change. So what I had to do was to adapt to that with the carnivore. So I end up eating breakfast, I end up eating lunch, I end up eating supper. And no matter what, I stayed true. Part that was hard for me was my schedule. My routine was changed. When I got home, I knew I was going to gain a little bit of weight because of fluids and being cramped in that van. When you're driving 8 hours one day, 10 hours the next, you won't move. You're going to build up some fluid. But the good news is all that stuff is gone the next 2 days, it was gone. So it was such a blessing to have this. It was such a learning curve. And but with the honest truth was it a struggle to be on carnivore? No, it wasn't a struggle to be on carnivore. What was the struggle is my routine. So there you have it. There's the highlights of the trip. There was what happened, what I'd stayed on carnivore, what was easy for me, what wasn't easy for me. And I am so grateful that I got to do this mission trip. And, this one was a little bit different for me because I couldn't do as much, but still being part of it, being part of a team, being part of God's work, because one thing about it is this wasn't about building a home. This was about building a church, building souls. The house was just a tool. So as I'm ending this video here, I am going to leave you with a roll by of progress of the house and the dedication. And there's 2 parts of this dedication. I'm hoping that you listen closely as the missionary talks about it, because that's what's important about why they do this, why Casas por Cristo does this for homes, for people, families in Mexico, as Juarez, Acuna, Dominican Republic, and I think Guatemala, and Honduras, I think. So there you have it. There is my what happened while I was on the trip. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel Broken Carnivore. And like always, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. Y'all have a great day. God bless. Enjoy the end of this video.
On behalf of Casas, I want to say thank you for that. Thank you for those who poured into the family this week. It's been a huge blessing to see everybody take time and talk to them and hang out with them. And I said it last night, but I mean, I can't even count how many different families came by and asked how to get a house. That was a question every time. And so it's just like, this is the start of something in this community. There was nothing else here. There's no power out here. There was no electricity out here. For a little bit, there was no water out here.
No food.
No comida. No agua. So you guys are the start of something. When those people, one day if they get a house, they're going to remember you. They're going to remember the one who gave them the candy. They're going to remember the one who gave them the soccer ball. Just like I shared with you guys on Sunday night where the kid is now the law student at Texas Tech. He remembers those faces. He remembers the names. So you won't be forgotten in this community. And so I'll share a little bit more about this tonight, but our ministry is based on our pastors. As much as it is about the houses, it is all about our pastors and allowing them to be able to reach out to different communities and reach them and give them a tool to share the gospel. We want to be a tool in their tool bag to be able to, hey, you want to learn about Jesus? Or you need a house? Let me tell you about Jesus. And so we aim to be that. And the pastor's known them for way longer than we have, and he's going to know them way after we're gone, and he's going to continue to minister to them. And this is just the start.
2 years ago is when they got the promise for the house. So it's been 2 years
So it's
that they've been waiting.
And just because that's when they came and filmed the video, that doesn't mean that that's when they applied. It's a very long process. Usually it takes about a year, but so for this situation, it took about 2 years. And what this yellow plaque represents is when this yellow plaque gets shown, this represents God's promise that there's going to be a group that is going to come, that is going to bless them, that is going to build them a home. There's no time frame for when we're going to come, but it is God's promise that Casas por Cristo is going to build them a new house. And what we get the privilege of doing today is taking down the yellow plaque and replacing it with the white plaque that goes above their front door. That what this now represents is that this is God's promise fulfilled. That now every time they walk into their house or walk out of their house or anytime anybody drives by, they're going to see this. And it's going to be God's promise above their door every time they walk in and out of their house.